So does the new Toyota Tacoma, the 2024 Tacoma, have some quality issues? You know, I've got a list of 7 things that I've seen people pointing out on the web that are problems. Now, are they just overhyped, or are they really problems with the new Toyota Tacoma? Behind me here, I've got the 2024, it's the TRD Sport. So we're gonna look inside mine and see if indeed I have any of these issues. We're gonna start off, number 1 is the glove box. Now, I've already looked at this, so I do know it is an issue in mine. And what I'm talking about is this. Look at the amount of movement that thing has. It does not fit tight. You can shut it, you can reopen it, still does it, and even maybe you're thinking my manual here is somehow blocking it, or this little window breaker tool. We'll shut that, nothing in it now, still does the same thing. Now, you might wonder, well, gee, why is that a quality issue? Because it makes noise. When you're driving down the road and you go over bumps and things, it moves. Is that a quality issue? I might call it more of a fit and finish issue, but nonetheless, it still is a quality problem, I think. Number 2, the little grab handle part on the doors. We're gonna check all 4. Now, the issue here has been that it's loose, that it moves. So when you grab it, there's some flex. So pay attention right here along this seam. I'm gonna grab it and just twist a little. And I'm not putting a lot on this, right? And you do notice there is a little bit of movement. Now, that is by far less than what I have seen demonstrated on the web. I think some folks are grabbing this and giving it a lot more than I am. But honestly, you just grab the handle to close, right? You're not gonna grab it and twist it. I mean, I could move all kinds of things in here if I wanted to do that. But nonetheless, the passenger side does move a little bit. Let's check out the rear passenger side. I want to see if this does the same, then we'll check the other 2 sides as well. Of course, we don't really have that handle in here, so I'm just going to grab right here on this edge. And you can see there is, I don't know if you can notice here at the seam, there is a little bit of movement, but nothing crazy and nothing out of spec, in my opinion. Let's go over to the driver's side. Of course, the side that's going to get the most movement, I guess, because it's going to get the most use, I suppose. Let's check that out. I don't think I have any issue over here either, but we're going to find out. I have noticed that it does show a lot of white, like powdery stuff. And no, I'm not wearing baby powder or lotion or anything. But nonetheless, when you touch these areas with your skin, it does seem to pick up a little bit of white, powdery or shadowy look. But let's take a look at this door handle here. Again, we're looking right here along this area, and we'll see. And yes, there is some movement. But again, I don't think it's anything outrageous, right? Let's check the back door, see if we get any movement out of the handle back here. Right along this edge, and we'll look right along the edge of here is what we're paying attention to. Just a very little bit. It's really not much. It's certainly nothing that I would be concerned about. So I don't really see any big problems over there. Next up, let's check the center console lid. There have been complaints that it kind of moves around a little bit when it's open. First of all, let's check when it's closed. Moves a little bit, but that's normal. I don't really see any issue with that. What I've seen reported is that it jiggles all over the place when it's open. I'm not seeing any of that. I am kind of putting a little pressure on it, moving it side to side. I mean, it is a plastic door. You're going to get movement out of it, right? But I don't really notice anything that is really beyond what we should have. I really don't notice any problems with that. Next up is this panel on top of the door. A lot of movement I've seen or heard reported about this moving around. Let's check that. There is a good deal of movement there. If you notice that, look how much that moves. Yeah, I'd say that's a good deal of movement. Is it a problem? Well, how often are you going to be doing that? But if it is able to move around, then of course you're going to get maybe some noise and stuff out of it on the road. Let's check back here on the passenger side, rear, see if we get any movement here. Same kind of thing. It definitely moves around. You can tell particularly at that seam. Is it a big deal? I don't know. Next up, these little storage areas on the side, and the idea is that they're very flimsy, I guess, that you get a lot of movement out of those. So they do move. Is it a problem? I don't know. I mean, if you grab them and really jerk the heck out of them, sure, you're going to have a problem. I could probably rip that off with my bare hands. Should it be a thicker, more robust material? Maybe. I don't know. I think if you jam things in there, like maybe a water bottle or paperwork or anything, you're going to want a little bit of movement out of those. I really don't know that there's any big problem with that. Let's check the driver's side, see if we get any movement or any more movement out of those two areas than we get on the passenger side. We'll start here in the rear. Again, I'm looking at this kind of finished piece up here, and yeah, it does, they do move. What that means is if you're going over a real bumpy road, you might get some noise out of that. That's probably all you're really going to notice, if anything. Again, I can't imagine that's a major problem, because you're not going to be doing this normally. You're just going to be driving, right? But let's check the driver's side. Yeah, we do get quite a bit of movement. I would say this is probably the biggest issue, other than the glove box, which is number one as far as things that move go. Lastly, we got to go up here and look at the grill. There's been some complaints that it is not very sturdy, that it jumps around a lot. Let's see. I mean, it moves, but it's a plastic piece. I think it's gonna move. And I'd call that almost flexing a little bit, right? Is that a problem? I don't think that's a problem. I think you probably could do the same thing on the 2023 models. So I don't know that that's really any issue either. Now, there is one more thing, I guess, that has been mentioned, and it's really just a cheap out on Toyota's part, I think, and that is this strap. I mean, it works perfectly. When you put the seats up and snap it up here, it will hold the seat up so it doesn't fall down, but I see a lot of movement in the fabric, both down here when you pull on it, and then up here when you snap it into this piece. It wants to pull everything forward, and I'm sure after a period of time you're going to have a wear area here, and you might even start to cut into the cloth by the edge of the little holder here. So that's probably a problem down the road. Other than that, I mean, it looks kind of chintzy, doesn't it? I think maybe, as I've mentioned in a different video, a Velcro strap would have been a better idea. Time will tell on that one. So, out of these 7 things, I guess, that people complain about, there's really only 2 that are an issue. One is that glove box. I'm going to address that somehow myself. I wouldn't be surprised if Toyota doesn't put some sort of TSB or something out on that, simply because of noise. You know, nobody wants to drive their truck down a bumpy road and have a ton of noise coming from their glove box moving around, right? Otherwise, I don't know, kind of picky in my opinion. Maybe that little door finish area right by the window is an issue. I really don't see any problem with anything else. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Are these true quality issues, or all cars and trucks do these things? I'd be curious to know what you think. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.